All right, welcome to this Lightroom Classic workshop where we're going to go through processing a photo shoot, and then after that we're going to do a little bit more work in the develop module, and we'll also take a look at some of the uh, new uh, features in both the October and the February releases of Lightroom Classic. And generally speaking, they are all cross-platform in the sense that they'll work in Lightroom Mobile, in Lightroom Online. So they're and if you set it up in one of them, generally it's also there for you in uh, in Lightroom Mobile. If you do it in Classic, you create a preset, it's there for you. So which is a good thing. So okay, yeah, this is my name is Craig Elferdink, and we're going to give it a go here. So on if you've taken the files that I provided, you want to load the those into Lightroom so you have them to work on. And this is interesting. Now I'm having to okay. Figuring out how to get around mine. So you want to load these that are is Z7II. You want to load those into Lightroom, and then you want to load the files to adjust into Lightroom. So while you're doing that, I'll kind of go through what we're going to do here. This is okay. So so we want to talk about the what we're going to cover in this workshop. We're going to talk about the benefits of creating and following a system within Lightroom. We're going to kind of discuss the elements of a photo shoot. We'll actually go through the process of organizing the photo shoot of the birds that you saw there. And we'll explore collections a little bit. And after that, we'll explore the new tools in the latest releases of Lightroom and also explore tools in the masking tools. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's start with the benefits of creating and following a system. We hope that it will speed up the tedious process of editing, and it'll allow evaluation leading to future improvements. And the idea is that we want to also include metadata and keywords into the files to help search. We hope that this will create a more organized Lightroom. Um, it also possibly prompts you to post and share more of your images, and hopefully provides more time in your life to do fun things. So a lot of people don't like processing images, so if the less time spent, maybe that's good. I happen to be kind of a computer wonk, so I kind of spend too much time processing and so forth. So that's what we're going to do. So let's start. Let's talk about what this is my definition of what's involved in a photo shoot. You're going to go out to a location. Now, let's say with our club photo shoots, sometimes you'll go to, well, we recently went to the photo shoot at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park. So that was kind of a one-stop location. Sometimes when we go out to like the Salton Sea one, you're at the Salton Sea and you're at, I don't know, all these different places. So you have more than one location. But when you go to a location, I believe you try and be there at the correct time for good light and good subject matter. Now, for instance, with birds, generally the morning or the evening is probably better for the birds, and it's also good for light. So when you're there and you're ready to go shoot, you're exploring and you're looking and you're trying to find interesting scenes. And what I mean by a scene is like if you see a certain bird on top of a post, you'll probably take several shots of the bird. You may you may zoom in, you may zoom out, and you're going to have to determine how you want to describe the scene. But the idea is that that is a scene. Now, you may end up moving to a different location and shooting the bird from a different angle. So that may be a second scene. It's the same bird, but a second scene. From there, you may find a different bird. So you're going into different subjects. You're going around. So in a sense, you're shooting different scenes. And that's only important that when we go into organization, you're thinking about possibly scenes as an idea. When you're working a scene, you may shoot wide, so with a wider angle, or not so tight, or shooting tight, zoomed in. You may put the horizon low or high. You're working the scene. So that's what you want to do. You can also, shoot vertical, horizontal. You can change your composition. So you're trying to work it, but you find, at least for myself, I find an interesting bird with interesting lighting, and if we're talking about birds, and you want to try and come up with the best shot you can for that bird. They also move. You may be waiting for them to fly, whatever the situation is. So from there, you go to a new scene, a different bird, different location, and you kind of do the same thing over and over. So you do that till either you're bored, tired, or they all leave, or it's time to leave. So that's kind of what I say a photo shoot is loosely. So so then so now what I want to do is I'm going to talk about so when you come back, you've got all of these images that you've taken. There's going to be, you're hoping that you're going to have one or two good images. If you have more, that's great. You're hoping for the home run. Hopefully there's not too many foul balls or singles. But even a single is pretty good. Double's good. Triple's great. Home run is like, even in a career of really famous photographers, I wonder how many home runs they really have. Usually as a photographer is known for 3 or 4 images at the most. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. So the idea is that when you shoot, the idea that I'm proposing here is that you load your images off of the card. Now the first step is that you want to cull the most technically challenged image. Here's what I'm talking about. That one where you're looking away and you take a shot of the floor? You don't really want to hold on to that. I don't know. Maybe you do. But if you don't, bad exposure. Now, bad exposure is you can salvage some of that. But again, think about bad exposure. Focus. Now, I'm talking about not really the critical focus looking at really tight, but if it's just totally, you can get those shots where they're totally out of focus. Or, you have to choose how much you want to call at this stage. But the idea is to do it quick. We want to get through that process pretty quick. Now, once we've called those out, we're basically going to delete them. Now, when we delete them, you can delete it out of Lightroom, or you can delete it totally out of Lightroom and off the disk. Up to you what you want to do. Hard drive space is cheap. Will you ever look at them again? It's up to you. Decisions that you have to make. So after we've done that, we're going to have what we're hoping, and we're still going to call after this, but we're hoping we have reasonable images. So at that point, what we want to do is we want to add general metadata, and we can also do general keywords. So when I say a general keyword, like for instance, the shoot at the San Diego Safari Park, we can put the name you could go, what is the reason? I mean, if you're selling stock photo, there's a whole lot of stuff that you can put in, but just you could put California, like United States, California, Escondido, and Safari, Safari Park. But in reality, you want to have, say, if you put Safari Park, and you may put South County Photo Club outing. So those two would be work for the whole scene that you have. Now, let's say that we go to the shoot at out at Salton Sea. Now, you may have it from Bondi Beach, so you would probably say, you could say South County Photo Club outing. You could say, Bondi Beach. You could say, I don't know the other places, but you could choose the other places because you don't want to have the shot of some other place and say Bondi Beach, but you could choose those. So in a sense, but these are general keywords. We're just trying. So what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that all of the image we have left have the general metadata and general keywords in it, because it's very easy to do with syncing. We'll show that. Now what we want to do is we're going to go through, and I was talking about scenes. From that point, we want to take our scenes and we want to create stacks of those scenes, because what we're trying to do is reduce everything. We're selecting the scenes is what we're doing. So you go through and you select all the scenes. Now, at this point, we can actually add more specific keywords, because each scene is going to be, if we're shooting birds, it's going to be of a specific bird. When a scene, if you go from a stork to a hummingbird, that's a different scene. So you could go through and choose that and keyword it as whatever that hummingbird is or whatever that stork is. So, and at the same, so in each stack, we want to choose the best images in each stack. And I'll say, best or best, the best or the best images in it. You can choose. The idea is you want to have these selected so that when it's time to develop, you have these that you can develop. You want to come up with your 2, 5, 10,000, whatever it is, images you want to develop. So the idea is to not develop all of them. The idea is to come down to the ones you want to spend time on. So that's the process. So let's go and do that. And this is the file here that we have here, the Z7II is the file that we're going to work with. So here is the group. So we were talking about, we want to call this. So the first step is calling this group. Now believe me, these are not great shots, but at this point we're not worried about that. We're just worried about whether technically they're good. Yes. That is, you press G for grid. Right. Get rid of side panels, you hit the tab key. So see, here's the tab key, and you hit the tab key, and they're gone. Okay? So now what we want to do here, here, let's just go through some hotkeys here. Okay, so this is grid view. So now, I'm on the number 1 here. So if I hit the E key, that's the loop mode. So now you're just showing that one image. If you hit the tab, it brings the side panels back in. You hit the tab again, it gets rid of the side panels. So now if you hit F, it takes it to full screen. So you have G for grid. Now understand, grid is in the library mode. F at this point is still in library mode. E is in the loop mode, and that still is in the library mode. So those are some shortcuts. You also have there's a shortcut for this, but in which actually, it's not going to work on my keyboard here. You can come down, you see if you hover down on this bottom, you end up with, this is called the film strip down at the bottom here. So you can go through. So we are going to cull. So now so here's so when you cull, I'm looking at this, and what I'm trying to say is this is an image that I want to get rid of or not. And you want to do it pretty quick. So because you're going to go back and evaluate, and you can still delete them later. You can get rid of them later. But right now, so I mean, personally, again, not a great image, but you're looking at going through. It seems to be in focus. I'm not seeing anything terrible here, but nothing great. So I'm just hitting the right tab key or right arrow key, and I'm going through each one, and I'm looking at it, and I'm looking for, again, I'm looking for technically bad, and you can see it's a quick process. Here we go. Do you really want, that's a keeper, That is. Yeah, yeah. So, there we go. Well, you know what? You can you can not cull and keep everything, and when you die, wherever. So I'm saying that I want to get rid of this. So you hit the X key. Now, when you hit the X key, you see it comes up with set as rejected. So by hitting the X key, that is setting it as rejected. Now I'm going to just bounce back to the grid mode. So I want to show you, if you look right here in the upper left corner, there is a black flag with an X through it. So that's showing that it's set as rejected. So I'm going to, again, do the E key to go back to my beautiful image. And then, once again, starting with my right arrow key, I'm going to go through them. And now this one, you notice the head, I've got bird movement. The guy was still for 2 shots, but didn't want to stay still for the third. So personally, I don't think that's very creative, so I'm going to hit X to set as rejected. So once again, going through, looking for technical things or just missed shots. I mean, again, not all-star image. Oh, now look, here's somebody walking through with a hat. Now, to be honest, you can use generative fill or removal, and you can get rid of that. But let's just say that I want to, yeah, I'm going to get rid of it. Again, I hit X, so it says set as rejected. Now, let me just, at this point, let me say that this is doing this in loop mode. I can hit the G, and I can go with here. If you hit the plus, it makes your images bigger or minus. So you could actually work your way through these on here in the grid mode. So you can go over here, and you can see in the grid mode that they're grayed out. See it's grayed, the one I selected there that with the hat going by, it's grayed out. So that's another tell that this has been selected as reject. So going through here, I can go through. So that, once again, I'm going to hit X for select as rejected, and you see again we get that sign that says set as rejected. Okay. Now, let's say you do it by mistake. If you click on that little flag up in the corner, it's now back. It's back on good graces. It's not selected. Now, we can do the same thing, and I'm going to start here. Hit the F key. Now you really see what's going on there. But here's the thing you have to remember. if I want to select this as rejected, now look at the very bottom, look down like in this area down the bottom. When I hit the X key, see it, little flash. That's all that it's going to tell you that that was rejected. Now, if I go back to the grid, it will be, it's here, and you can see it's got the flag in the top. So the thing about it is if you really want to look at it, I'm going to unselect that, and I go full. Now you can really see it, right? But you got to realize when you do your set as reject, you just see that little flash. So it depends on, now you get to review it before you delete them. So again, we really want to get through this quick, but I'm just showing you how the tools that you can use to unselect, right? So as far as when you say unselect, that would be if you had selected it as you want to set as reject and you want to unselect it, then you hit U and it would unselect. X, right, exactly. Right, the pick. Because now this is called picking the images, because there's other tools in here, but this is flagged or pick. The P, you think of P when you hit P is picking, but yeah. So you go through, again, I'm going to go through, again, going quick. Now I'm in full screen. So again, you can see, just to point out, see here, I consider this a different scene from this. But these are all, well, that, again, you have to choose these. That's a different scene from here. Do you really care? Again, it's not much of a change. It really, same bird, little different crop. Up to you to consider whether all of that is one scene or not. So we're going through here again, and now I'm in full. Now, interesting, but I'm gonna hit X on that because I'm gonna say that even though maybe ornithologist, is that what a bird who studies bird, ornithologist, maybe they would love that shot because it shows something, but ain't gonna do anything for me. Same with this one. Okay, so once again, I'm going through. Now we've got whatever this is, and so you go through, and look, this one, again, you're looking for really more technically screw-ups or bad shots. Now, here you go. This is a great bird shot, so I think I'll get rid of that. And this is the invisible African who knows what. So we're going to get rid of those. So, yeah, exactly. So again, now we're not trying to be critical of bird movement in here. So I mean, I could like this one here and this one here. It's up to you, but you could. I'm going to leave them in, but you could say, okay, that's bad expression. Get rid of it there. You're going to have a chance to go through here again. Now this one peeks behind. Now here's another great shot. So we hit X on that. So again, we're going to go through another great shot here. Taking a picture of the ground. I wonder how many we have of those. So again, going through, and I know we're taking a lot of time. So again, you really want to get through this real quick. Now, this one, bird movement. So let's get rid of that. Not trying to show. We got gorillas. Yeah. So then we've got some different. So, again, at what point do you decide that this is of no interest or not? So at this point, I'm going to leave them in. Then we have all these bird shots here with the hornbills. And I'm just saying that they may not be fabulous, but I'm going to let them go. Flowers. My new pet here. Now this one is really kind of blurry, so I'll get rid of that one. Not that any of them are any great. You kind of go through once again, just trying to find technically inferior, totally out of focus. Is that really the shot?
Too much noise on that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that one I think I mean, not that any of them were great, but we'll go to, what happened to that? I don't know what's happening here. Okay, well this one, I'm going to go X on that one. And again, not great. Okay, so we're going to get through, oh, some more of my great shots. There we go. There we go. I don't need any bamboo today. We got a tiger. So now see we got focus issues. So, you know, again, this was, I would say that's really out of focus. And I'm feeling like I'm going to be lunch here, but I'll get rid of that one. Yep, too close. Again, I'll set those as rejected. Now we're off into a little crazy land here of waterfalls. Again, I'm not. I'm not going to delete these. And we have, this one was like a no shot. I'm going to get rid of that. That doesn't. Again, these some different and more birds and another great shot. So now we've gone through and we've selected as rejects. Everybody see where we're at there? So now if you go to Command or Control, delete, it brings up all of the ones that we picked. Yep. These are the rejects, right? Right. Control or Command delete, depending on. So that has all of them. And so now what you can do, you can see that we can remove it from Lightroom, which means that we'll leave it on. You will save the file on your, or you can delete from disk. So that way you're getting rid of all of it. Right, right. No, this is it. This is a moment of truth. So until you feel comfortable with it, maybe you want to do remove from Lightroom because you can always go and import them again.
It's alt delete.
Right, right. Hmm? So what did you hit? Command delete or just delete? Well, interesting. This is what. So I'm going to cancel that. So I hit command and your command delete, and it comes up with the same. Now, what's interesting here? So it's showing you these files here, but what we can also do here is up here. See, we have. I brought up the. This is the film strip by just hovering down at the bottom, and you go up here and you see filter, and you click on the second flag here, and it will show you all of the rejected images. So that way, if if you're not comfortable with where we're at, that's another way you can review what was there. See, they're all grayed out. So again, so hit Command Delete. Now, what, Denny? You're not given. Your choice is just delete. You don't. What is your choice that you get? So you're hitting what this key here, right? Alt, right? Which I have wrong in some of my slides here. So
Another way of doing it is just like what you were just saying.
right,
Go to the attribute and select the ones that have the black.
right. So so here, so beautiful, beautiful software. What can we say? So is it? But you're what's interesting. You're on a Mac, so that's not. It's not a Windows Mac key thing. Okay. Is it? I wonder. Is it control? Is it control delete instead of alt delete? Well, this is control. Yeah, I'm command. I'm command delete and command delete. Mm-hmm. Right. So basically here, what? So you can see how you can choose the technically bad images, and you get a chance to I mean, this the way mine comes up, so I can just say, I can come here and I can say remove from disk, and it deletes it. So I get rid of all those. Or if you say remove from Lightroom, it would give you a blank screen again. The files are still there on your hard drive, but not there. Yeah. No. So right. Right. Nice. And where is the right, right, where is the auto advances you have? Right. So you can select this. Right. So here I am. So but the thing about it is if you do nothing to it, you still have to advance it though, right? Oh, there we go. The problem with picking them is that I'm hoping with this system that at the end your picks are the good are your best files. So if you're picking them now, you're going to have everything else as right. Right, correct, correct. Right. Right, correct. Right. See, you're this yeah, this culling is to try and get rid of the really egregious stuff to the floor, bad focus. Again, it could be you could when the bird looks away or the back somebody walks through or somebody's back of the head. You know, you can choose. I'm not trying to judge beyond that right now with this. You can do again when we go through this. You can adapt it any way you want. That's the thing. Yep. Correct. Correct. Right. Right. See, but the thing about it, well, with this method, the thing is that I'm using. You'll see. We'll go through it. You're seeing that the idea is I'm using the pick as the method to choose the best images. So if you're picking them before, you're it's not going to do what I'm trying to do here. So yeah, exactly, exactly, exactly. Again, this is this, but I really, if it is I trying to say this is a great workflow, I'm saying it's a workflow, not a great workflow. It may work for you. It shows you the tools that you have, and if you can come up with a way you'd rather do it. But the idea is to come through. How do we go through, and how do we come up with our best images? Because the idea is that if we end up with having, say, 20 images that we consider as best images, I mean just from the shoot, you can then process those. Uh, Again, processing is kind of easy because you could process and then you could sync those that are in the same scene, and it's probably going to be similar. So again, Adobe products have billions of ways to do things. But again, that's why, I mean, that won't work. Again, that's a great feature, is what Photos auto advance, but you have to do something for it to auto advance. And what I was saying is that if we like the image, we're not going to do anything. So it won't work with that. But if you are choosing, it would work. Right. Right, you could, but it's not, the auto advance is doing nothing then, because you either, I mean, I guess it would move, I take it back, it would move forward once you hit the X, it would move to the next one. So it would save you a little bit there. Right. 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 No, it's good. It's interesting. I haven't used that. So, all right. So now the, yeah. Okay.
Looking at the keyboard shortcuts according to Lightroom, and it's got a. They're not all the same. They're not all the same between
interesting.
Windows and Macs,
Mac.
because what you're doing, Command Delete, it
Right.
will delete rejected photos, all of the ones you've already marked for deletion. In Windows, it's Control Backspace.
Okay.
Okay. Um, Now, Option Delete in the Mac is to remove selected photos from the catalog. So it doesn't delete them. So Option Delete just removes them from the catalog but leaves them on the hard drive. Command Delete removes them from the catalog and and moves them to the recycle bin. And similar, there's
there's a lot of keystrokes,
there are a
and
lot of
unless you want to
keystrokes.
get
Yep.
really into all those keystrokes,
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it where you do get a warning,
And
and
this
that you
does.
can then choose.
And this
right.
does give me
Right.
a warning,
Right.
like you. So.
Right. Yeah. Uh, but that was Windows.
This was the
wasn't it?
Windows in
Right.
the Mac. It's the delete key all the time.
Right.
But your old laptop,
Uh,
old Macs, it's a backspace.
right. So let's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. There could be. So, all right, we can get back on track, but that's all right. We can muddy the waters way too much. So now the next step is we could. So now we have. I'm going to go to the grid mode. Now we have all the ones that we've gotten rid of technically the bad images. So this is a good stage if you want to. If you go into library mode and we hit the tab key, now what we can do is we can actually, boy, this is small. We can actually do metadata over here. But now why am I not getting, wow. I was not in the full, right. So my problem was I wasn't in the full screen mode there, so I couldn't see on it. So you can go down here, and here's metadata. So you can choose the metadata. And I was going to ask Manny to talk a little bit about the metadata, because one of the things that we have an issue when people submit files to the club for contests, or where we're not doing any watermarking on them, is the problem is that we don't know who submitted it because they're not putting the information in the right way so it shows up, or exporting them with the metadata. Is that correct?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a big challenge, right? It seems like it's a mystery for folks as to how to get your metadata, or how to get your identity into your metadata. Needless to say, one simple way is to so
Right.
there are functions in your camera, at least semi modern cameras, I would say, within the
Probably
last 15 years.
pretty much everything that we have here, probably.
So one simple way of getting metadata in your photos is to get, or your personal information in your photos, is to do it in your camera. Now the second way, obviously, is through Lightroom, and you can get you can put just about anything inside of here, and where you do it. Let's see, can you unplug and
What?
your? This could be dangerous.
Right.
This could.
Well, could you
Let's,
could
how
you
about we,
guide me? And I'll.
let's go come back to this at the end.
All right. All right.
So
So.
that way, if if it
All right.
bombs, then
Right.
we're not shut down.
Right. Okay. So to be continued on metadata. So,
Yeah.
but let's go to keywording. And so with keywording, if you drop down this box for entering keywording now, and on the files that you downloaded off of it, there are TXT files that are keywords that you can import into Lightroom. So it gives you a structure. But so again, what we were talking about here is this was, and what happens when I type in there, they'll actually show up. If you've ever typed it in one time, it's going to show up each time. So I'm going to start with simple. I'm going to say this is the San Diego. So you can see it comes up, San Diego Zoo Safari Park. So I'll select that. Then you want to hit a comma, space, and then I'm going to put South County Photo Club, because so now this, if you notice, this is in number 1. If I go to the next one over, the next one over doesn't have it in. So what you do here is you go Command C, which is, well, keywording. Now, actually, I'm right clicking on it. I believe that's what. Oh, I know. Sorry. So you select the first one, and you want to go all the way down to the last one, and you shift select that so it selects all, and you hit sync down in the right hand corner, and you'll notice that it gives you a choice to sync all these different things. But if you go all the way to the bottom, it says keywords. So I've selected the keywords, and you can see what it says: San Diego Zoo Safari Park, South County Photo Club. Hit synchronize, and you can see it's doing its thing. And so now if we click on this, you'll see all of them have the keywords: San Diego Zoo Safari Park. How much we? Yep. Okay, great.
Which is if you can show the tools at the bottom.
Mm-hmm. This one here?
No. I want to see the bottom toolbar. I forgot what it's called. So simple, I forget.
You mean the taskbar?
The taskbar.
Yeah,
Um,
but that's
no.
It doesn't. Right. There we go. All right, there we go.
You see the spray can?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, we did that. Yeah.
With the spray
Alright.
can.
Yeah.
You hit that, it brings up the window, and you can type in the keywords that you want. And then if everything's been selected, you just spray any one of them, and they're all.
All right.
So it's a lot faster.
or just look at your
Well-
first image, if all your images were taken at Safari Park, you know, shift image, and then you can put keywords in for all of the images one time.
You know what though? That doesn't work anymore.
Really?
Yeah, now you have to do what he's saying. You have to hit the sync button. It used to be the case that you could
Right.
just select them all
Right.
and then type in,
So,
Right.
and
So what-
they would all
right.
populate.
So I guess the important thing to say here is that you can do keywording whether you use the method I said or the spray can or whatever. That way you can get in. Now, when we talk about that, what's the advantage if you have these keyworded? Let's say that you've gone, you shoot through a half year's time, you've gone through four or five outings with South County Photo Club. You've done your keywording and you want to see all your images that you took on South County Photo Club, boom, you just select and they would all show up. If you want to say, well, where's those shots that I shot at the San Diego Zoo Safari Park, you choose, boom, they show up. So that's the reasoning for keywords. When they're really doing keywords, if you're selling your images online, they want other stuff, but we don't need to go into all that because that's the whole thing about keywords. Okay, so now we've keyworded them, and I've got them all selected, and now what I want to do is rename them. Now I'm a little confused here. So photo, I think I can rename them, but I could actually go in and rename all of them now, but we don't need to get into the weeds on that. So now we're gonna go to right.
Just as a little aside, I tried doing what you just suggested. I'm getting an internal error has occurred.
Yep. Yeah.
No, I think this is Lightroom.
All right.
I think this is Lightroom.
So now what we want to do here is now we're wanting to group them into. Let me see something process. Okay, let me. So we've loaded them from cards. Oops. So how does this? This is strange. No. This is not as effective as I hoped. We did. Now what we want to do here is sort them into stacks. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the G keystroke to go to the grid mode, and then we can choose the size of it, and then we'll hit the tab. So let's go and do that. And little challenge bouncing around here. Okay. So we're in the grid mode, and I'm going to reduce the size so we get more of images. So what we're trying to do is now group them using stacks. So if you go, I can see these first three go together, right? And so you go, what's that? Hit the tab. From this to this, you mean? Oh, the plus or minus. So plus or minus keys. So now I've selected those three that are, I'm going to say, of the same scene. And now this is, and I hope this is true with Windows, it's Command G, and it creates a stack. So now you can see where it went from 3 into 1. So that's a stack. Now, to expand the stack, you just click on the little, see this little icon up there? That's showing a stack. You click on it, it goes back to all three. Click on it again, it'll go back to the 1, or you click on this little bar on the side, and it expands them and contracts them. So the idea here is we're just going through. So now we have this bird here, which I'd say is a scene. I hit the shift key and I select the last one in the group, and then now does Alt G work for making the stack?
Control G.
Control G.
Yeah.
Okay. So on the Windows it's Control G, on Mac it's Command G. So now we've got the spoonbill over here. I'm going to say that the spoonbill is all the same. Then we've got whatever this ugly duckling is. And again, I selected Command G. So you go through, select Command G. We've got these, and I know that. What's that? You don't see the stack. You need to be in the grid mode, right? Do you have some filter or something on in the? Well, what if you go and you select those two, and then if you right click, you can go stacking, group into stacks. I mean, it's another way to do it, but
All these shortcuts, I have a really hard time even trying to remember them all. It's much easier to right click and just choose.
yeah, exactly. But so isn't it the joy of teaching these classes, huh? Yeah, right. Yeah. As you're about to go under, bro. Yeah. So carrying on, we'll see what now. If you do the other shortcut, it doesn't work either, or not shortcut, but you select and then right click, stacking, group into stacks. So is everybody seeing how you do that into stacks? Now, I mean, you could see where you could go through. It doesn't take a great deal of time, but it is time consuming. So right. Okay, within the film strip. Okay, right. So as in almost all of these, there's a lot of ways to do the same thing, but the concept is, I'm just saying, is I'm stacking. I'm the idea. So here, so we've stacked them. Let's just say without doing all of them, we've stacked them because we've got X amount of shots here. So we take now what I'm at, and I'm gonna enlarge this a little bit, and I just want to look at the first stack. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna expand the stack.
Wait, how did you do that? How did you expand the stack?
Okay.
How many
There's this little bar on the left side. You can hit that. That unstacks it. Or you can click on the stack there and it'll unstack them, the little icon. Wow. All right. So we've expanded the stack. You see how we can do that? You just click on the click on the stack. and it either expands or contracts if it's open, or you can hit this little side bar over here that contracts it. But so we've expanded it, and now you need to select all three of those that are in the stack. And now you have, if you hit the C button, it gives you the compare mode. So this way, and you'll see that on the left side it says select, and on the right side it says candidate. Okay? So if I hit your right arrow, it's going to go to, it's going to move, because I only have 3. This is 31, this is 32. If I hit the right arrow, I go to 33. Now you can also zoom in here, and it zooms in the same place. So you can see in the first one, which is the selected one, the eye is not so lit. And now on the second candidate, you see that you have a really kind of, looks like a blind bird. You've got a really ugly eye there. And then you go, and then if I hit the arrow key moves the candidate. It gives you different candidates. So it's giving you a chance to compare the images. So you can see that actually these two are very similar. Didn't give them time to do much movement. So what you can do, so out of this, the idea is that you want to choose, you may want to delete them all. That's one option, right? So once again, you would hit XXX and you could delete all of them. Or if you want to keep one of them, you would pick one, and for just ease of purpose, so here's the situation. I'm going to just choose this one, and I'm going to pick the one on the right. So I'm going to hit the P key, so it's going to flag it. And the other thing I'm going to do is if you hit the Shift S key, what it will do is it will make that the top image in the stack. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to escape out of that. And again, we're going to restack that. So what happens is that now the image that I chose with the Shift S is going to be at the top of the stack.
They were 1, 2, 3.
Right.
If you change the top stack image, did it change the actual order of 1, 2, 3?
It doesn't rename them, but it would be.
But it swaps them?
Let's see. Right. So the idea here is that, the idea here is that we pick the best one out of that group. Again, subjective, but just saying. Pick the best one, and that way we flight it, because the idea is that we want to end up getting back to that one to develop it. I'm just saying. So then we basically go through and do the same thing again. So now I selected it. I'm going to hit the little stack, which expands that out.
Oh, the other, okay.
And then I'm going to select the last. See, it's still dark. You can see the backgrounds are still dark gray. You go to the last one, hit the Shift key and select it. So now those are all selected. And again, you hit the C button, and now you're comparing. So that gives you a chance to look at all the images. So just out of it, I'm zooming in. I'm just using left clicking, or you hit the Z, let's see if the Z works. You hit the Z key, we'll zoom in. So then if I hit the right key, it's going to rotate the right image, right arrow key, it rotates the right image key. Now, of course, you can see it crops a little different, but you look at it. Now, let's say that I like that because his head is up. We got his eye in the light that we didn't have. So you hit the T for the toolbar. This is the toolbar that is that. So if you notice, you have this is you'll know if you notice down below you have these icons. So this one is showing that it's going to change. So what I'm going to do by clicking this icon, you see where I'm at in the bottom right corner? It's going to change the candidate to be the select. So now we've got that to be selected. So now you go here once again. As you see, so now if I hit the right key, it's going to take me through. Now this is, see, this shot on the left. The shot on the right is one shot later, but pretty much the same pose. At this point, I'm not going to really delve into it, but you can see how he's done his different poses by just keying through. And I'm going to stick with this one on the right as being the best image in that. So you hit the P, hit the Shift S, and now I'm going to hit Escape, and that will bring that one as the pick. It's been picked, and it's the top of, by collapsing, it's now the top there. So now we've got, at this point, we've got two of the best shots.
You have to do Shift S to bring it to the top. You can't just exit as it. You brought that over to be the candidate,
Right.
but you still have to do Shift S to get it to the top.
Top, correct. Well, let's try. I believe you do. Let's.
No, I think you hit if you hit the icon on the bottom, when you hit select, it will put it at the top. It moves it on
Interesting.
mine.
Interesting. Okay, so now we're on the next one here. Again, we select the first one, and we'll try that to make the interesting out the candidate. I'm going to zoom out a bit here so we see it. So here we go, Shift. And then now here's another way. That was C, which was compare. You also, if you hit N, it brings them all up in a group. So this is called the survey mode. Just the ones I selected, right. So then you can click. Now you'll notice here is that you have little X's in the bottom corner. So I'm going to click on it. So now that's not going to work. So compare. So if you hit that X, it will remove it from this group of 6 images. So that way, if you, okay, like just to say, I don't like this one, I don't like this one, you can see it now it's gone down to 5, gone down to 4, it gets bigger. So I kind of like one of these. Let's get rid of this one. No, it's just taking it out of the survey mode. And again, you can zoom in. You can zoom in on it. I think you can. So I went to end survey. Okay. So you can basically get it. So at this point, again, it kind of does the same thing in different ways, and I think you would choose. I don't think you would use both. You would choose which one you like. You choose which one you like and use that. But let's just say I'm going to do this, complete it, so I'll get rid of that. So now I'm going to hit pick because I want to pick that image, and I'm going to Shift S to take it to the top of the stack. And I hit escape, and then I'm going to restack it, and it's now got that image at the top.
What advantage do you have for stacking as opposed to just highlighting it in the grid mode?
It's showing a different process. You know, either one, you're right. You could go through the grid mode and do exactly what I'm doing. I would just say that I guess that if you did this, the outcome you would come up with is if you did it with all your shots, you would have a lot less images you're looking at in your grid mode that shows you the best of all the ones you had there. All right. You can still accomplish it just through the grid mode. If you went through, picked them, and then you go down and you select a pick, you do the same thing. Yes. Oh, you're just scratching? Uh-huh. Yeah. When we say, okay, candidate to select. Okay, so let's do this one here, and we'll see. So I've unstacked that. I hit Shift. So the compare mode, you hit C. Okay. So what was the question? Is it at this stage you want to move it from the candidate to the select? Okay, you see in the bottom right corner here, the toolbar. You may have to hit the T, and it'll bring the toolbar at the bottom up. You see in the bottom corner over there, this one shows arrows pointing, and so what it does is it moves the one from the right, that is the candidate, into the select position. Is that what you were, Sandy? Is that what you were looking for? Right. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Right. 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 Correct. 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 Right. Yeah, yeah, that would be, because that would be helpful. The other thing is that, let's say you had, I mean, I think the big idea here was just that it would reduce, when you look at it, you're going to have maybe the best shot on the top of the stack. So when you're looking through your grid, you're not, because if you're shooting, I think with you're talking about your camera that you pre-shoot, it pre-shoots, so you're shooting a bird, you're getting a lot of images. So that way you're able to shrink, so you're looking there. Now there's other way. I mean, again, there's so many ways to do this, but it is true. But you do, the problem with the metadata is in stacks, anything you do on it only affects the top image. So you can't take that, you still have to unstack it, select it, and do what you're going to do. So it is a little cumbersome that way. But so Sandy, did we answer your question? You found the little, I know my screen's so darn small, I'm like, oh, where's that? And then you have to hit the T so it shows. If it's not showing, because you were asking for that menu bar and the toolbar, and it's like, where is it? So, all right, so that was so again, going through, now I would have to say, remember, you're looking at these groups, and you may find 2 or 3 in that group that you really like. So pick all 3 of them. You don't have to just pick one. When I say pick, hitting the P so that it flags it. But pick the 3 ones you really like. So it's not like the best, it's the best images in that group. So that way you do have, especially like when you're shooting, I mean, because if your camera's shooting so fast, I mean, I don't know how much difference there is. You're probably catching. Yeah, exactly. So that is so we have both, again, the C with compare, and then we have the N. The N here was just survey. So C for compare, N for survey. Again, the survey, they have the little X at the bottom that you can hit, and it deletes it out of the survey mode. It doesn't delete, it just gets, your idea is you're trying to compare. And like for me, just to say, I mean, these two look like the same, so it really doesn't matter. This is interesting. His bird, I don't know, this guy's beak a little open, it's a little different. I don't know. So just to say, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna check. I don't know why. Just gonna do it. So with that, I am going to hit P to pick it, Shift S to take it to the top. You hit Escape, and I collapse the stack, and now I've got him at the top of it. So again, you could go. The idea was you'd go through all of yours and do that. The idea is you want to take coffee breaks. You know, it is a little tedious here, but you are going through. I do have to say one thing to think about is that when I go shoot, a lot of times I'm coming back and God, I'm thinking about 2 or 3 shots, right? I'm like, God, I want to do this. Then what happens is that you burn yourself out by the time you really worked on those 2 or 3 great shots, right? And nothing's wrong with that. But you know, there's reasons you took other images. Sometimes you need to go back and remember why you took that.
Why you took that, yeah. Right.
And then process it accordingly. So in a sense, this is kind of forcing you to look at those singles, non-foul balls, bunts, or whatever. Again, it takes time. But also, if you evaluate, you may look and you say that I was really trying to do this, but I didn't get my depth of field right, or I should have been more patient, or something that you should have done. So hopefully you can use that to think about when you're out shooting next time to improve. So part of what I'm why I'm looking at all this is to say, now when you're out shooting birds, or animals or whatever, things happen, so you can't do, but you know, it may be that, well, I tried this angle and, you know, you realize that there was a possibility there when you look at your images, but technically you didn't get something right, whether it's exposure, depth of field, should have zoomed in more, should have zoomed out, I don't know. Yeah.
To your point, that could be looking, when I go to process, I'm going to be looking for 2 or 3.
Right, exactly, me too. I think you can, yeah.
Then when you bring it into Lightroom, all of a sudden, if you just go search by the rating of like number song,
Right.
it's going to pull up of the thousands that you've been taking.
Yeah.
Right. Right. So those are all good things. What I'm saying is that that's a great, because you know, we face it. You get there, you know, our time is limited, but I do say that sometimes to really improve on your photography, if you took some images, you need to kind of give it a little, if you have time, you know, again, that's just to say, but okay, what are we doing? We're probably, wow. Yep, as always, it always ends up taking a lot longer. Okay, so without going through all the rest of them, but you see right now that we have at least these top 3 or 4. So now we have gone through and we've picked supposedly the best images, and I just did one. So if you go down and if we drop down, or you hit F6, no, that's not it. If you want to bring up the film strip down here, and you want to go, and what we want to do is we want to show these are the ones that we picked. So now we have 4, all right? Now from this stage, you could go into develop, and you could develop each one of them, and those are supposedly the best 4 that you have, just to say. Now, here's another option that can be done. We go back into, we select these, and what before now you could develop these right now, but another method you could do is you could go over here and you're in the library mode and you want to go down to collections. You see the collections there? You hit the plus arrow and you hit create a collection. Now you can name the collection, and I'm just going to say birds. Let's put San Diego Zoo, Safari Park. Birds. So if you notice below, I can create inside of, if you've already created a collection, which I have a collection saying my best, and you have this checkbox here, include selected photos, and so then you hit create. So now you go over to collections, and it has so we're actually in collections now. Now, the files, the actual files are still up on your hard drive in the folders, but this gives you your separated files here that you can go in, and from here we could hit D for develop, and we can develop these over here. Yeah. Well, the advantage is not, say, it's not in, well, one is you can never really delete these things, because if you're deleting it, you're really just taking it out of the collection. You're removing it out of the collection. The other thing is that if you go over, we go over the library and the collection, now you see on the left-hand side, there's a little box. If you click that, that is going to sync online, and it creates a portfolio online that you can get a link from. And if I wanted to send my grandmother to take a look at the shots these 4 shots, it actually creates a portfolio, and it'll say San Diego Zoo, Safari Park, birds, and then you.
This is with Adobe.
This is under in the Adobe Cloud, in the Adobe Cloud.
Cloud, yeah, Adobe Cloud. Yeah,
right.
portfolio. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So let me kind of show you. No, in a sense, this is the direction that I wanted to go. This is what I wanted to show here. So you can text it, or you can email it. So I actually emailed me something earlier, and hopefully, and it's not from any of this because I was erasing things and so forth. Because once you erase, if I erase this collection, it's gone. I mean, it's gone from the web, the cloud. So I sent myself through email, and
now we're recording for posterity. All
right.
His
There we go. So here is the link for it. So that I click on that, and this is what you come up with. All right.
So this negates the need for Lightroom or SmugMug.
Well, it is. So, and you see here, this was from Joshua Tree, and it says your name. You really you have some choices in the layout, but not much. It's very, but so you have that. Now, what's really cool is when you actually have it set up and you send via text, because you can do that and it'll link on your phone. is that it has a little preview under it, and it says on top, and so it's kind of a nice little presentation compared to just the link that we get there. Yeah. Correct, correct. But it also separates it out so that you're not playing with it. You don't, there's no way that you inadvertently show everything else. It's just those best picked images. You can work on the other. There's no, again, there's no real reason, but this is kind of fun because I share my images this way. A lot of people, and you know, this is really, I guess, really isn't out on the. It's on the web, but it's not open to everybody to see. Although I'm sure SmugMug isn't either. I mean, I guess you can, you
yeah.
can or can't, and that's probably true here.
But you can save yourself a lot of money because SmugMug is not cheap anymore.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
This comes with your Lightroom subscription. Now, if you got a lot of them up there, you may have to pay some space, but it's still a lot. I mean, it's still quite a bit, you know. And the thing about it is, you go in. So here, you know, that was in this. You can have a white background or a black. It's really not very robust as far as it, but and then so you get that, and you just click on it, and you know, you can go through it as a slideshow. I mean, you can key through it, or actually, I think if you go up here and you can choose a slideshow, and here, depending on what you choose, so it has some metadata here, and although I don't think you can actually set it up because you're setting it up when you set up that individual. You can actually have it so they can download a JPEG. Now, it's not a very high resolution, but it gives you, it's something, you know, that way you're sending it to a family. From a photo shoot of a family, they can download it, and it would work perfectly on their phone. I don't think you can go out and print a 24 by 36 from it, but yes. Well, okay, so here we go back to Lightroom. So you have your collections. So that was Joshua Tree, Supermoon. I think it was this one. And so I hit grid. So there's the ones. Okay. All right. So now I can go in and I could actually, if I right click on, I mean, okay, this is in color. I right click on it, and I can see down here, remove from collection. So it removes it from it. It may take a little bit of time, but if you went back online to check out, it would be gone out of that portfolio. So that is what collections can do. Now, again, I want to emphasize, see how we have on the left-hand side, that's a little arrow pointing two ways right over here. You have to click on that to upload it to this. Now, the other side of that, if you're working, because you're working in Lightroom, you can access this portfolio and edit them on your laptop or on your phone or on your iPad or tablet, whatever. So this is the way you're sharing it between Classic and your other portable devices. So that, right. Right, it's the, unless you had to, I don't know. Sure, that's really, so that's how you can kind of bring these all together across it. I don't really do much. I don't do much with the Adobe mobile app or the Lightroom app, but so that that's there in collections. So,
but one of the powerful things that you can get out of collections is the automatic collections, right? Or they call them the smart
collections, right?
So here you can put keywords.
But I believe With a smart collection, you cannot share it the way we are sharing it here, though.
Oh, you can't.
I don't, so you cannot link it to the cloud.
Okay.
So that, but the smart collection, if you're trying to say I want to have all my best shots, and now how do you, because with a smart collection, you tell the collection that anytime you have, let's just say you have a 5-star rated image, it loads it into that smart collection, or you can have you can, however ways you can choose it. That's what you're telling a smart collection. So it's good for certain things, but it doesn't, now, and that may change, but that's the reason for collections. You can do, now, I do have to say, I believe, but yet do not know, and I think we could do this here, out of curiosity, birds, okay. I wonder if I took this and I develop it, and I'm gonna really, I mean, I just trying to do something real quick here, don't know. Maybe make it actually very ugly so we can really stand out. So what I'm trying to see here is that if I go back now to the library mode and I go back to over here where it originally was, I believe it will adapt. It will adapt that what I develop when it's listed in the catalog, and it'll take it back, and it will actually make those adjustments over here, because if I go to grid, now it's all there, and see that now I'm working off of my hard drive, and you can see that it made those changes back to it. Now, do you also know virtual copies? Are you aware of virtual copies? Because you can make a virtual copy, and you can make those changes to it, and then you can have that. You won't have that blue hideous thing online, but again, that was what we're talking about with that. So that's the only reason I bring up collections, is that it's you're never gonna, if you've chosen 20, what you think is 20 best shots, and you could say remove from this collection if you didn't like it after all, and now you're down to 19 shots, but those are sitting there, and they're not going to be, you're not going to all of a sudden go, oh, well, how come I've got my 200 shots again? I mean, plus you're sharing it online. You can take your iPad or your tablet or your phone, and you can pull them up and you can share them. I find it, pretty good to do. So, that, I would say, is there any questions about how the different tools that we're talking about to be able to choose? You could go through and not even do any of these. You could just go through the grid mode and choose, and you could pick it by the P. You could just go through it instead of going through all the stacking and all that. You could just go through and hit the P, go through P, and then boom, you got whatever number you have. And then you could take those into as a collection. You could, those are all things. It used to be that hard drive space cost so much that you really worried about it. Now I don't know if it's cost as much as like clutter. But is there any questions about the concepts of and tools that you can use to pick? Again, use the tool. There's tools. Use them, don't use them. I guess the thing I will say is that we were talking, just to show here, I want to, you see, I want to talk about filters and ways you can select your images, and so here we have filters off. You can actually go, this is not going to really show anything, but if you choose camera info, you see I'm using this, it drops down. Now, I only have one camera, but if you're shooting with various camera or various lenses, you can choose those here. or focal lengths. See, now this is zoom lens, but so that's choosing 120 millimeter, 135, 145. Is that 120? You have, I mean, those are just, is it useful? I don't know. I'm just saying it's there. Um, so I was shooting with a 500 millimeter lens, which actually I wasn't on this one. I had a 340 was, so those were my longest zooms I could do there. So again, I mean that is by custom filter. See, it's at the top of the film strip, and that's camera information. Now we have exposure information. So now it's focal length, ISOs, different ISOs. You can just see, you can see all the different ways that you can possibly shutter speeds. You know, so I mean, tons of way. For whatever, don't know what the use is, but if you had to,
But you can call up all the shots that were high, so
right?
maybe run them through it.
Good idea. Right, right. So we're back opening this film strip up, custom filter, exposure filters off. So you hit, to get rid of any of these filters, you just hit filters off and we're back to where we're at, okay? So once again, I want to bring this up and just to say, and
Now
then,
you're using the right click, but all
right,
of this is the same stuff as up at the very top, right?
yep,
The very top menu in the middle.
okay. Oh, right here. Okay, there you go. Okay.
Well, not even. Yeah. You
No,
can
it's the same. It's the same drop down. It looks like.
But in the middle of that bar, you have metadata, attribute, text.
Right over here, right
Yeah.
at the top.
It's the same.
So you can
stuff,
do
right?
metadata. You could choose. Well,
That's
interesting. Okay, no keywords, none. I mean, there's all these different sorting
It's
methods.
the same. I think it's the same option of
Probably it's just different places to access the same.
right.
So we have, so you can choose those, but let's go through and let's just say, I mean, with this, if you hit one, so on this image here, and let me do loop mode, I think it'll show it better, which is E. So if you hit 1, it sets the rating of 1 star. Does it show it in bottom? 2 stars down in here. Down in here. See, I hit 1, it goes to 1. I hit 5, it's 5-star rating. I try to do rating. I would say I don't I mean, you could say a 5-star is at your best. You could say that, but what's the difference between a 4-star and a 3-star? You know, it gets a little. I don't know that it makes sense to try and rate them by stars. I see 5 stars as saying this is the best. A 2-star maybe you could just choose it as my best black and white. I don't know. It may be, but yes.
If I'm going to run a image that I want to process,
Right. Okay.
I'll start with my original photo, I'll call that 2, and then the one that I process might be 4.
Okay. So then it shows processed, right? So it's just a way of tagging it more than a rating system.
Yeah.
And which is, again, I would say that's the best concept. Now the other things you have, you know, we have the picked ones, which once I click on that first, come on, wake up. That shows the picked. We don't have any that are flag is. Oh, this is actually. I thought that was picking. Okay, that was. So the other things, because you can also, and where do I don't. You other choices for selecting. How do we? because you can select them as a color, you can,
Mhm.
I mean, there's a whole bunch of rating methods that you can do.
That's under attribute in the grid. Yeah.
Yeah, so if I right click and hit, so I right clicked on the image and you can color label there, so you can see, so you can choose it as yellow. And so what, you don't see anything here, but if we go back, you can see in the grid mode, you can see that it has a thin yellow border around it. Again, just ways of sorting things out. And, you know, and I think that's a great, Bob, great idea with maybe noise reduction or something, some other way that you can do so you can know. And you know, the stars, again, I just say that if you're trying to say what's a 3-star or 5-star, that's tough. But if your 5 stars are this and your 3 stars are that, it's more of a label as opposed to a rating. So, so you can see that actually if you don't have it selected, now you have that box that's kind of a yellowish. And if I go down here, color label, and let's go to purple, and you'll see now it's purple. Again, it's a way that you can now sort those color labels and come up with all those that were there. So, I mean, there's some other things I was looking at covering, and we do have like an hour and 15 minutes if you're still interested. Should we take a break for a little bit or keep on going, or 5-minute break, bathrooms up the hall, and when we get back we'll talk more
All right.
we're starting.
You're live.
Okay, so we went through, and it sounds like everybody saw what was going on and see the tools and decide how they want to use them is what I would say as far as processing the files. So the other aspect I was going to cover is we're going to do a few things in the develop module that are in the latest release. There was a release in October and a release in February. And so for that, what we want to do is we want to go over and choose the files to adjust up in that you added. And so okay, this is not, now here, okay, so I'm going to go, Sandy was asking about denoise. So not that this is a great, just to show. So if you go, we're in develop module, you go down to detail, and okay, well let's go back to the grid mode here. I'm going to select all 5 of these because she was asking about denoising and denoising all the time. So we go down to, interesting. I had grid. It seemed like so now we selected all, and if I go to develop, denoise, the result will save as new file. It usually, what I'm trying to say is that normally it allows you to denoise all those files you selected at once in a group, right? But I'm not seeing that here. I don't know why. So, because if I go denoise is going to start. I don't really want to do that because I'll be here forever.
Yeah.
So, as always, it doesn't want to cooperate. But you should be able to select and denoise all at the same time. Okay. Now let's get into an area. This is a workaround I saw on the internet, and it has to do, we're in develop mode, it has to do with the selection masks. So with this, it has to do with selecting the sky. So what this guy says is you select the sky. Now you can see the selection here. You're getting a little bit of splash in the purple over here. And I mean, to even emphasize it, let's go up here and really crank it up so we're almost, so you see, if you want to change the mask and you say overlay, you can see that you can choose the color here, because sometimes, you know, I mean, here we go on Mars, but you can do that, and you can, the intensity of it too by this slider here. So this is what he said, and I'm still, so we have a little bit of seeing the shadow here in the rock over there. So what he says is that you go here in the mode and you hit subtract and you choose sky. Seems strange, but select sky. And then you go up here on this top one and you invert that. So you've actually selected twice. So this is what he's saying, that it gives you a better selection. You can see that we don't really have that in the rock anymore here. Now let's do this. I'm going to turn that off just so we can say, and then I'm going to do select sky again. This will be a second mask. It's just the regular select sky. So you can see we have a little bit of spill over here. Now let's turn that one off and turn the first one on. So you can see, this is what he said. I don't know. So that aside, whether that is really working better or not, that's something you can do. So again, you select sky. Select sky. So let's delete this one, which is delete mask. So we've selected sky. You select. We turn it on. You select this second one here. You hit subtract. Select sky. And you go back up to the top one and you invert. So that is what he's saying. You get a better selection. It's something to try. Now, what's interesting is that, okay, that's not very hard to do, but you may forget which one to do. What you can do is you can go over here and you hit plus reset, create reset. Now look, this is important. I made no adjustments in the file. The only thing I've done is just create this mask. So you go create preset, and you notice that you select check none, and then you select the mask. Now here it's under user preset group, and I'm going to call this better sky. I already have it up there, so 2, I'm going to put it down and create. So you'll see up here you have it as a preset. So let's take and delete this mask. So we have nothing going on. So now we go up here, better sky, click it, and it does the whole mask setup for you.
So if you use it on another file,
It will, because it's using AI. So here we go. That's a good. So I'm going to.
That doesn't work. When I do the delete sky or the subtract, it just subtracts it all.
Okay, so again,
How did you get the? how
so
did
you go sky, you
Yeah.
go, all right, we go mask, you
Right.
get into masking,
Right.
and then you select sky
Right.
in the box. So now we have the sky. You go up to, you're not on this one at the top, you have to go to the second level down,
Right.
and you hit subtract.
Okay.
And now you have to choose what you're subtracting.
Yeah.
So you subtract sky,
Select. Sky.
select sky, sorry.
Uh-huh.
Yep, select sky. And it goes away.
Yeah.
All right. But now you go back up onto that same first one down. You right click and you invert that.
The second one or the first?
The top, well, the
top.
second one,
Okay,
the,
okay.
the
Sky
first one
two.
down from the top level.
Okay. And you.
And you invert it, and then you'll have.
Oh, okay.
So you're gonna see that it.
So in essence, it's two skies.
Yeah, basically it's
Yeah.
trying to refine the selection.
Yeah.
And
okay.
so now I am
And how did you save it as a preset?
okay. You go over to presets on the left side,
Yeah.
and there's presets at the top. You hit the plus,
Okay.
and it says create preset.
Got it.
Then you want to check none. So I have
Yeah.
check none, and then hit mask,
Uh,
and then you name the preset up here, and it's in under what group? This is user group up
yeah,
here.
Yeah. Better sky.
All right. So
Interesting. Okay.
let's. I'm going to delete that mask, but okay. So I'm going to go over. Here's another. Here's another one with the sky. I'm going to get rid of that. So we go to develop module, preset, better sky. And it doesn't work.
No.
Yeah.
Now click on it. Click on it. Go back. Go
Okay.
back and do it because I just did it on mine. It worked.
Okay, so we got, right, sorry, we go, okay.
Yeah.
You had to open up, it didn't, I thought it delete all math. Okay, so now, again, I'm going to,
Yeah. Click better sky.
and then it opens up.
Yeah. And now you click on it. Click on the mask.
Right,
There you go.
because you have to hover over that mask to show it. So there, so you can see it's using all of the intelligence the same way. It's not specific to the shape of the rock or anything. So it's gone in, and that creates,
Cool.
you know, and you can see, I mean, in a sense, it's a pretty good selection. You know, it's another tool in the arsenal, I would say.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
So that is, however you want to call it, better sky selection or whatever. And again, it's kind of cool, the presets. I want to emphasize with the presets, make sure you have no other selections or anything happening with that. It's kind of like the first thing you do with that. And you know, it's fine. Once you have it set as a preset, you can do that. And well, that was what they were really showing when you have a bunch of dead trees and, you know, branches, and, you know, selections are tough, and the masking is, it's a lot. I mean, can you imagine having to mask it in the old days? Like you had to drag the thing to select it. I mean, it's a lot better, and you had to be in Photoshop to do that. So that is one little thing that I picked up. So
Does a good job.
yeah, I mean, it does. So what's interesting is now that we have that selected, let's go down. Can you do that? That's interesting. I don't. I would say. So here, the sky is selected. I just want to point out. So in a sense, this is the rocks here are a little dark. The sky, not that interesting, but I mean, has some possibilities there. So we do have the mask selected. I just want to show some interesting thing. Now, I know that probably most people don't use this tool here with the tone curve, but I just want to show what you can do with it. Okay. So what do we have here? Interesting. That was okay. So we have it selected with it. So by using the tone curve, you can kind of do some interesting things with it. And what's kind of nice about using the tone curve to get to this state is that when you go up to your basic panel, now we're still in this is working in the mask, you still have all of these tools here to use to work on top of what you've done with the tone curve. Because if not, you can create that maybe with the basic tools, but you sometimes you've exhausted the tools. So this gives you a stage here that you could work. You can deal with the exposure, highlights. You have all of those still available to you. You have temperatures down here that you can, like that's choosing that really makes it orange. You can probably add a little more purple into red. Now, of course, the other thing that you do is if you select the mask you want to duplicate and invert mask. So now you're masking the rocks, and you can go back here to your tone curve first and realize I'm grabbing the very top of that, because if you go in the middle you do this, which isn't bad. It's just I'm trying to bring everything within a range here, because you can see we have no information out over here. Now, this is all kind of tweaked. If you want to get it back, you right click and then you reset all channels. We'll take it back to 0. And then the other thing, see here, this is all RGB. This is the red channel. This is the green channel. You see where I'm selecting those circles? So you have all of that. So that's, let's look at what it does. See, that makes it really red, or really takes the red out. I find colors over here kind of tricky to deal with here, but it's there. Again, go back to reset all channels. So what I want to do is I'm just trying to get the overall image. So what I want to do is by dragging that top over, see, I'm lightening it up. I don't want to go too far, and then you could, if I do this, it really darkens it. So again, let's reset.
Cool.
Yeah. So you have that, and then you can go up here, and one thing that's kind of interesting is if you put the highlights all the way up and take the shadows all the way down, that may be too much, but you know what? We're not. You can go back and you can make it from here. With this, you can go in here and you can use the whites to add a little more white, take it out, or the black. You can take the black out, which really washes it out. You don't want to do that. Or if you go, that's too dark. But you can make some adjustments with those. You got contrast. Now this, I just have it there. I'm not, no judgment here. This is just where we're at. Now, remember with the mask, you can go down here and you can do clarity and that's just the masked areas. You can do texture, so it kind of makes it a little more crispy. You have sharpness that you can do right there. So that's what we're.
What's the difference between texture and clarity?
Texture and sharpness? Clarity. I'm not exactly the clarity. They always called it micro contrast, trying to really emphasize the detail between creating it more contrast in the area. So you're kind of creating that. Whereas texture, probably doing the same thing, but it's doing it in a little different way, or it gives you a little different effect. Correct, mid-tone contrast, right?
So right now I'm guessing and looking, every time like I'm guessing and just seeing by what I look, I really would like to understand the difference.
One thing
Yeah, right.
I remember Denny made the point that if you use texture when sharpening like a bird's eye, it will pop better. And I've been doing it, and it
Right.
works. It works pretty good.
There's a lot, you know, so that was in the, so let's close, so, yeah.
There is a video on the difference between texture, clarity, and sharpening. Boy,
Yeah.
but it's there if you want to.
Now here is a window that I don't think many people use, and I don't really, I just saw this on, but so once again, this is kind of like the tone curve. Here you have the red, green, and blue. You have the overall, so you have red, green, and blue. So you can come down here and you can adjust. This is an overall adjustment. This is not using the mask because it doesn't work in the mask. You can come here just to show, again, this is really blanking it up. See, now this is the hue. I'm changing it from more of a yellow or purple. So this is the red channel. Again, if you double click on that, it takes it to where it is. So I don't know. I'm just saying, you know, you're trying to say, God, I can't get the color quite right. It's down there. It's called the calibration.
By bringing up the blue channel, it tends to pop the whole image.
Uh-huh. So you know, it's something that's not really talked about much, but it is there. It's a way to change the color. So you're saying that you pop the blue, huh? Now your saturation on it? Okay, not, see, I was changing the hue, but you do
Just by increasing the saturation.
saturation.
You gotta do it carefully, you know.
Right, right.
Yeah.
If I bring it up, it tends to brighten the image.
And that's all having to do with the interplay with red, green, and blue, which is a color space. So you have calibration. Let's see here. This is the kind of now going to some of the latest additions to both October and February. In October, they had the big one, which is going here, and you have your AI generated removal. So with this, we're choosing this eraser brush. You have the eraser, you have, what is it called? What do they call this? Healing, and then this is cloning. Okay, so this is erase. So you go down, and you can see the circle here, and just the bracket, right bracket enlarges the left bracket, reduces it. If you want to do it that way, you can also go here and change the size. So it's same thing again. But here, I'm just going to I'm going to see what we can do about these trees down here. And I want to subtract. I hit subtract, and I hit remove just to see what it does. So you can see we kind of got kind of interesting, you know. I don't know whether that was, you could crop it out too, but that is kind of
They gave you 3 versions.
right.
So if you look, you can kind of just go through the 3, see which one you like the best, and if you don't like it, just hit remove again.
Yep.
Get 3 versions.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'll yeah, okay, so I'm selecting, I want to subtract, I want to remove. Who knows what we're going
And it's saying, why would you want to do that?
Right.
It's the side of a hill.
yeah. So we, strange, okay, so here you go, variation, right here, see variation? Then so we hit the next one, and the next one, and then hit generate, so now we generate again, and it's gonna, we're keeping those mice running fast here. So again, now you have another 3. Again, just really not interesting. Wow, interesting. Look at that.
Could you do that for a subject rather than sky to get a better?
I don't know. So if you, so you're saying, because there is the select person, and then there's or what is it? Select subject, and then there's also, so new, because there's select subject and there's also object, which I think the subject, I found the object is pretty awesome. It's the way it selects it.
I bet you it.
No, because it's not
dependent on what you define it.
subject. Correct. Because you have to select the object. So I would say subject you would, but who knows? I don't know that it works that great anyway. But so close this up here. Now another one of the new features is this profile. This is in the latest. So if you hit, and I'm still not quite, these are supposedly adaptive presets, right? Which, what?
Whatever they call them. 'Cause you got
Right, right. And then you have presets, you go over here, and you also have presets over here. Adaptive portrait, adaptive sky. I don't know, let's go adaptive sky. Okay, so you can see they're all, so that's dark drama. Looks like a fire sky. And then deep purple. That's an interesting. So these are all there, and now, again, these are the type of thing that you can kind of see. They show you. You just hover over it, and it shows you, and you can choose it or not to choose it. So. I think what it's doing is that it's probably using the standard select sky algorithm. I don't believe it's using the mask that we created with that little workaround that we did. Because they have they have portrait black and white, portraits edgy, portraits group, auto retro. I mean, there's a whole. You can go through them. They also have all these over here. So we have black and white, artistic. So there's a whole bunch. You can see that what you see is what you get.
Either one is to give you a starting point that you're kind of close to.
Right. So if we, okay, so let's just say that I chose that one. Right. Now, what's interesting is by doing these, you can see that it hasn't changing any of your settings. So now you're starting from scratch to work from it which is good, because if you had done adjustments and created a preset over on the side, and then you went and you applied that preset, it's going to apply all your settings, whereas this is doing it at the next level up, and it gives you all of your adjustments you can use from that point. Right. This was over here. This was over, yeah. right up in this box right here is your profiles, and so you just drop this down and you can choose Adobe Vivid. I mean, these are all a bunch of different, but this over here, these boxes shows that that'll open up. But see, even I can shut that down, and this is your more Adobe color. This is Adobe Mono. These are kind of the presets that are. So there's a whole bunch of the profiles that you can choose. So
What do you think? I don't know if you just said this, or oh, I see. It's picking them from the left. The
on
other
the
presets.
on the right, yeah. Does it when you do
Yeah,
that?
when you pick.
Does it interesting? Does it show?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah. So grid.
Yeah.
Oops.
Oh wow.
Right. So here's the profiles right here below auto, be it black and white in HDR. So, and then when you choose, you can choose the amount. So let's just say we choose this one, and you can adjust the amount. So you can adjust it out or adjust it heavier. So you know, from no effect to overdone effect.
Those are different.
So it's not really the way I work on images, but it is. It does. If you're really trying to do something moody or something, and it gives you a starting point, why not?
Yeah.
You know, that's why you're paying monthly. You know, so these guys can smoke pot and and create this stuff.
That's wild stuff.
So that was one of the new items. The other, which has been around a while, but I'm wondering if you know that you can tether with Lightroom, and you got to be in the library mode, I imagine.
Under file, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Look under file.
Tether capture, start tether. So now I can choose. I'll choose OK. Yep. So let's see if this will. And of course, like everything else.
Yeah. It's.
What am I at here?
Try hitting the shutter button.
Here we go. It opened some up. So there's.
Okay.
And then, you know, we can, by hitting this, it'll trigger it, and it should, there we go. You can drag this out of the way. Now it should be able to just shoot, because if you're, yeah, so you can do those. So what's nice about that, now I will say this, and I don't know if you want to bring everything tomorrow night, but when you're doing something like still lives, can be kind of nice to see it bigger than what you have on the back of your screen. So with that light painting that we're talking about, you do that, you don't know what effect you're going to get. So with this, you will see a bigger shot, and you could also probably do a little tweaking in Lightroom to it to see whether you're going to get to where you want to go. So it's kind of good for those. If you're doing a photo shoot, portraits, it's good to go for that. And especially, well, I mean, if we were shooting professional and you had an art director, they could see what it is. But, you know, in our case, it may be the mother-in-law art director or something like that who may be it. But so that has been in there. The difference in the last two releases is that Nikon has been probably brought up to being able to be used where I think Canon probably was always at close to this stage. It used to be that with Nikon, you had to open it with, at least on the Mac, I don't know about Windows, but you had to open it in,
It used to be horrible.
yeah,
It
it
used
was
to, yeah,
some,
on Canon, I mean,
even Canon was
yeah,
tough, yeah.
it was always horrible.
So,
You
so it
had to
is a
connect
way,
it.
I mean, there's other programs out there that you can do that do similar things. It's just that this is all something you're paying for, and if you do it, I don't think you can do it on portable. Yes?
So when you're in this mode, and you make where is the adjustment being saved? Is it going to be saved on the SD card? Is it going to be saved?
You can do that setting. I think this is this is actually on the computer here, but I do think it saves it on the card as well. But I mean, see, at this stage, I mean, you can go into develop mode and
I think what it's doing is just importing it into Lightroom directly.
right.
So the savings will not go back up.
It doesn't affect
Not
the camera.
the savings, no, but the raw file, I believe, is
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, does it go on both? Lightroom and your card?
I think it
Yes.
goes Lightroom and card,
Yes.
but it's on your computer, so you don't have to download these. You don't have to take the card out and load them. It's there, all ready to go, and you can do presets on it, so that if you have some whatever you want to do, I mean, you know, you can do any preset there because you can choose in the setup screen. It said any of your presets or something you wanted to do. So correct. 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 Right. Any of the new cameras that have Wi-Fi, I'm sure you can do this. But now you have those, and yeah, it's. I would say that it's more, still lives or something like that. That way, it's already in there, and if it's something that you really want to kind of take a look closely at it, because that's much bigger.
Where I've used this before that is pretty nice. You can do this on the camera with what Denny said earlier of giving it a rating, but if you're doing a photo shoot of families, portrait kind of thing, you could show it to them, and then they can tell you, "Oh, I like that one. Oh, look at my face on
Right.
that one." And you're looking at both of them and saying, "Those were pretty good," But they like the
Yeah.
one, and you can make notes. You can, rate it, give it a color, all those things.
Everything, yeah, you do. That's a
And-
5.
and-
Boom.
And then that's all captured right there and then real time. Whereas, otherwise you're doing, I remember doing things with an Excel spreadsheet and getting everybody's name and then adding comments to the side.
Oh my gosh.
Uh,
So that.
yeah. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Now there was some addition that they did, and unfortunately, they really didn't do. There's some improvement supposedly because this came about in October. This was part of the October upgrade, but this time there's supposed to be some other feature which I haven't been able to figure out.
You mean for the capture?
For the capture that allows the tethered capture, it allows you to possibly focus, peep, or something else that you weren't able to do. But so you were gonna do metadata.
Yeah, just real fast. We can talk.
Yep.
We can talk about it. Let's attempt
To okay, so
connect the
you want this.
HDMI.
So you want this HDMI from me, right?
Yeah. Let's see how much that will blow things up.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, this. Okay, there we go. Okay, so now it's got mine. Is it?
Yep,
Yeah. It's. All right. Let's see. You turn this guy on.
So what is
Okay.
what do you find? What is the purpose? You want what is you see the major purpose for metadata then? I mean, it's good for us when we're using it in Lightroom, then we know the camera and we know
Well, let's
shutter speed and ISO, but that, when it gets out to the real world, isn't really things you need to share.
real fast. There's just two things to kind of keep in mind. I mean, there's all sorts of different metadata, but the ones that we're mostly interested in is it comes down to two sets. One is what's called EXIF, and this is all your technical stuff related to. Let me see if I can make this bigger. All the camera information, right? All the stuff that, you know, date of the original, date of digitized, date, time, blah blah blah, exposure, focal length, all the particulars of the camera. And then there's the IP, what do they call it? IPTC. And this stuff is all your, this is all your subjective information. You know, like you know, if you've got like right here, it brought over the fact that the creator, this came over from Craig's camera, so he's got his name on here, and then you can put, you know, all of these different fields of particulars of you know, when, where, how, and all that. You can put a description, you can put a, you know, categorize it. I mean, all of this stuff is stuff that you can input.
Where did you expand that from?
This is the IPTC.
So you go into metadata and you have to choose that.
It's a drop down on top.
Right.
I end up using this combination here where it gives you both. So you select that one. Now you've got the camera information as well as the metadata. And really, the two that are the ones that are the most important is let's see, go back to over here to your name. I put in I have created a preset that I call my copyright. So if I put that in here, it will throw that into the let's see where.
So now that put all
now
your
it's got my
information, 'cause
copyright
that's
information
right.
here.
Right.
And then what I end up using in my stuff is that I use the title. So you can, title and caption ends up being ones that show up, more so the caption ends up showing up in SmugMug. So that what I do is I give it a title, and then with the title, when I go to export, let's see.
Isn't
When you
that
go to export, you can rename the file in a way that uses the title in the renaming, and brings it over from here. So it renames the file and gives it a new thing.
how does it embed the name? Because when the issue being that when you submit it to the club,
It's like I said,
it's
you know, number one, the easiest way is to put it right in your camera, and then it comes across.
which
The
I did in a sense, right? 'Cause
Yeah, you already have it.
right.
But the other one is just go to Creator and type in your name. I suspect, let me see, you can probably do this as a preset.
Sure.
Let's see,
You could.
edit presets. So if you come over here, you can add all of these different things, all of these different fields, and this is where you can put the copyright in. Here's where you can put your name in, create
Right.
architecture creator. So just include that, and
So you have to well, this is the preset stage. This is
is
a
So
preset.
so
right.
you, I mean, just to assure that you get your name on everything, just include this, and
Right.
then give it you know, give it a new name, save it as a new preset with,
Right.
you know, say that this one has your name on it, so this was
Well,
Craig.
but this will be on your computer.
Yeah,
will
this is
not
on my
come
computer.
Right.
This is just an example. So, you know, at that point, when you go to another one, well, they're all going to have your name on it. So
Right,
I'm
right.
not going to get to. So
No.
let's see. Let me.
But that will, when you, because what you're saying is that okay, so we're processing, we've gone through, and we want to submit three for a photo contest.
Right.
And when you export as a JPEG, it 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 just will automatically put the creator.
Yeah,
It'll use the creator, and
when you
when
go
you
to-
go and look under the
when you go to
metadata, you'll know.
when you go to export, you
Right.
have the choice down at the bottom of what metadata to include.
Right.
So you can say copyright only. You have all these choices here.
Contact.
And you say
Copyright and
copyright and
content.
contact.
Okay, so that would be a good preset to
That
have in
covers
your
it.
club exports,
Yeah,
in a sense, and you could also set the sizes and all of that in that. So that would be a preset you could create.
If somebody does an export and then they look at it and then none of the data is there, chances are they had something wrong selected with that metadata.
yeah, it's all in the metadata. Yep.
Right.
So
Or
by
this.
default, if you've entered, let's say you've entered your name under metadata on Lightroom,
Right.
you do an export without going into that last screen that you just did,
It'll
is
include.
it still gonna be there?
Well, it just depends on
Then-
how you had it set up. I mean, this setting here for export,
Right.
it lingers. So it's whatever you had it.
So by default,
Copyright only. It was copyright, so that would only have the
Yeah,
copyright.
it wouldn't have.
You have to have creator and copy. Yeah.
If that was all I did.
there's.
Change that.
Let's see. There.
There's
Hold.
also remove person.
Yeah. So you have this one here, all except capital raw info. So you have these other check boxes as well. So you can remove the location and personal information if you want to keep it anonymous. So you do have a lot of options.
But by default, though, just for clarity, by default, it's not going to include
I don't
The-
know if there's
the
really a
creator. It wouldn't. The
default.
creator's name. It doesn't seem to be in the default setting, which is copyright only. Probably, I would guess from what we're looking at there. I haven't really done anything in there to suspect that it would have.
Here's
Presets on the left panel there are gonna change everything to the right panel.
Yeah.
So you need to be careful about what you're selecting over there as well.
right.
So I had one set up for outreach, because they have a specific way they want outreach photos to length with pixels.
Exactly.
So I set up
Exactly.
preset. It set everything on set.
So here's one way you can use for different activities. Like say if you do community outreach, we do one at 4,000 pixels on the max on the long edge and everything else. The way I do it is I use what I mentioned to you before, this publish services. Publish services is a way of outputting things in a predetermined way in terms of how it goes out and where it goes out. The two wheres are the most important, and what it is that you have a choice of either a hard drive or let's see, or an online service. So if you go here and you say go to Publisher Manager, you want to create if you want to do a hard drive, you notice how that is. Let's see. Okay, so this is listing all the ones that I've already established. But if
Right.
you want to create one, over here you have a choice of adding a new one, and you decide where it's going to go. So it's either you can choose the hard drive, or you can choose these predetermined plugins. This requires a plugin from one of the services, so wherever you're going. So the ones I have here is Adobe Stock, which is what the
Probably the
automatic
standard,
collections
right.
do automatically anyway. Flickr and SmugMug. There used to be a Instagram plugin, and so you could output put things out there. But the hard drive is the one to use for things like the club, because we have to generate an actual file that then we upload via a link. So we can't in order for us to publish directly to say like SmugMug here, you have to have the account credentials. And I once had that, and I started doing that for the club stuff, and I realized I could really screw things up for the club. So I said, nope, I'm not going to do that anymore. So now what I do is I publish to the hard drive, And once you have those settings, you notice that it's very similar to the export settings.
So
So-
do you typically do publish instead of export?
Yes, I do publish. Yeah, because then I know I've already preset all the things for the club. And I don't worry about it, including the watermark. I've created a watermark and that comes along with it. So it's just a very, um, um, I mean, and one additional thing about exporting to the hard drive is that you select, if you have if you already have photos in that you've exported already and they exist. Like for instance, these I may have already done it, and I can go to, let's see, I can go show them where they are in Explorer, so that these are the actual files, right? The beauty of using the publish services is that you come along and you say, oh man, what was I smoking when I oversaturated the skies like that? And, I quickly can make an edit that, it takes that into account, and maybe I had it already? No, I don't. Okay, so I don't like the way the sky was oversaturated. I can come along, make a quick, maybe not so much that way. Get it to the point where I like it, and I can go back over here. Now, it's figured out that I made a mod. I made a modification to that. And then I republish it. I hit the publish button again, and you'll see back over here with your files, you notice that over here is the original one that's kind of blown out, or a lot of saturation. If I hit the publish, it will actually delete the old file and create the new one without having to go worry about renaming a file and doing all those things manually.
Selected that photo from a previous publish?
Yeah, I already had it published. Yeah, exactly. So,
Go through it, let's just say you were gonna upload those 4 images to an album. What would you do?
at this point, just select them all and drag them over to the website. We usually get a link
Right.
from Judy as to where to upload things, right? So I would just take the 4 shots and drag them to that link. I'd open it up in the browser, open up the link in the browser first, and then just drag them over there.
But if you didn't have them in that published folder already, let's say you were still in Lightroom
Right.
and you're gonna publish to, you've got,
Then you'd be doing the export thing.
Yeah.
You'd be doing this
Export to the hard drive.
and saying, well, let's see, let's go to these in the folder. And I would select these 3, and then I hit the export button, and I'd have to tell it over here where to put it. I'd have to go through all of these different things.
No.
No. I'm exporting to a folder on the hard drive. Yeah. Yep. That's
I'm sorry, go ahead and finish.
that's pretty much it. So anything that you want to do on. One other thing that is really good for metadata is when you come back from a trip, especially an overseas trip, and you've screwed up on the date and time, if you want to get it correct, is that you can come over here under photos, I think it is, and or maybe library. Where is it? Change the time. Metadata. Let's see, edit capture time. So here you can adjust by number of hours if you're just
Oh,
if
cool.
you're just off by
Yeah. So
time
time zone, change time zones. Okay.
or you can actually change it. If you didn't set your, like say you're shooting with 2 cameras and you didn't sync them up, and they're all off but you've taken one right after another, you can set it down to a minute or a second and get them synchronized. This is the way you do it.
Huh.
So it's really cool that way. And I've done that so many times.
Yeah.
I just want to mention one thing. For those of us who really don't care about Lightroom on the web and don't really want to put all of our stuff out there. If you look on the upper right-hand where there shows the cloud,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
you can
right here.
pause that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah.
what it will do is it will no longer be putting your photos up there.
Yeah.
And it actually makes the operation of your computer faster.
Yeah.
Right.
Because it
It's-
is up.
it's-
It is
You
uploading
noticed I don't
and
have it
syncing.
syncing. I
right.
don't,
Like I said, I don't need it.
yeah,
Just
I've turned it off. Yep. Yeah, I kept on looking, when Craig was saying, if you go to Smart Collection or Collections, that you see that little triangle, and I'm going, how
It
come I
won't.
don't see
It
that
won't
little
work on
triangle?
yours. Right. Right.
It's because
Right.
this is
Your sync is not on. Is
Sync
what
is
it's
not
got-
on.
Right.
And you're right, it will, and it all of a sudden, when you have sync on, it all depends on your connection speed.
Right.
And so if you're remote somewhere in the boonies, the other thing that I've found, I don't know about you guys, but the one thing that has been very, very annoying for me is that when I don't have internet and I go to import, one of the things that happens is that I use OneDrive to synchronize, just to have an online folder. And that's where all my default documents, pictures, music, video, all that stuff goes there by default, right? Well, if I'm not connected to the web, Lightroom will suddenly demand that I use my pictures folders as the repository of whatever.
Ah.
And since I'm not online, it just sits there and grinds away, and it eventually turns blue. I mean, it goes bye-bye on me.
Yeah.
It is really, really annoying. So one of the things I've learned before I start importing sometimes is to make sure that I'm online somewhere and prevent that from happening. I don't know, whose fault that is, whether it's OneDrive being aggressive or Lightroom being nonsensical, because it doesn't remember where I imported my images to the last time. So
That's why you need a Mac.
Yeah.
no, like I said, I don't know if it's
I don't know
Lightroom
that it'll
or I
be,
don't
yeah.
know if it's OneDrive. I suspect that it's Lightroom. So
All right.
anyway, so that concludes our.
Yeah. That concludes our presentation. Unless there's any other questions or. So we're hoping to have another Lightroom next month, which would be about the print module and some of the things you can do in the print module. And then after that, we're looking at having a Lightroom / Photoshop combination, so that when you can export out of Lightroom into Photoshop, some of the quick things you can do. We're not trying to teach you Lightroom, Photoshop, but there's some simple things that you can learn how to do that will add to it.
Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.
These programs